Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of Pause. I'll be your host this week, Niall Davis, and on the panel we have Jamie Mepham and Ross Henry. Let's take a look at what's coming up in today's show.
We're going to take a look at the trailers for David Lowery's Aint Them Body Saints and Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim. Jamie and Ross are going to examine the radical marketing strategy behind Ben Wheatley's A Field in England. And finally, we're going to talk about the growing conflict between Marvel Studios and 20th Century Fox over the use of characters in their respective films. You can also expect film recommendations, a chance to get involved, and a bit of fun to close the show.
So we're going to look at some trailers. The first is Aint Them Body Saints, directed by David Lowery.
Dear Ruth, I dreamed about you again last night. I hold your face in my mind. I think about your hair getting longer. I think about your belly getting bigger. I think about our baby girl.
I shot someone. I think I shot someone.
It's gonna be okay. All you gotta do is wait for me.
So, Ross, what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, it looks very grim, and it's a twisted sort of love story about an outlaw who is seeking love. So it's going along that theme of being quite depressing in a sense. But I think it looks really, really good. And again, it's got a strong cast.
It has, and I know you're a big fan of Rooney Mara.
Yeah, big fan, yeah. The first thing I saw her in was, I'm sure she's done a lot of other things, but The Social Network was the first thing I saw her in. She kind of pops up in the opening scene with Jesse Eisenberg. But she's not in it a lot, but she's really, really good in that, I thought. Obviously, the remake of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, David Fincher film, that she was really impressive in. And obviously, we spoke about Side Effects last week, saying about Channing Tatum and how he's really good in that. She's 10 times better.
Hey, you want me to beat your dick off?
So that's another reason to watch Side Effects. But yeah, really impressed with her in this. So the cast looks good, and obviously Casey Affleck. So
Casey Affleck, who I'm a huge fan of, really good actor. If you haven't seen it, make sure you see Gone Baby Gone. It's a very good film. So, Aint Them Body Saints. That's out in August. And now we're going to move on to Pacific Rim. Here's the trailer.
We always thought alien life would come from the stars, but it came from deep beneath the sea, a portal between dimensions in the Pacific Ocean.
Initiating launch operations. Gypsy danger.
They never considered our ability to stand, to endure, that we would rise to the challenge.
Pilots, ready to connect.
Let's go fishing.
2 pilots engaged in neural bridge. Ready to activate the Jaeger in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so, Jamie, what's your opinion of that? You looking forward to it?
no. I'll be honest. I don't like. To me, it just looks like Transformers versus Godzilla. Like it just, I feel like.
But done well.
Shia LaBeouf and
Surely.
Matthew Broderick are just going to be like on a building somewhere, just shouting out like inspirational quotes.
50 years from now, when you're looking back at your life, don't you want to be able to say you had the guts to get in the car?
This thing have high beams?
I just feel like, I don't know. It's just how much can we spend on CGI? That's what it seems like to me. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, what about you, Ross?
Well, I mean, it's obviously being billed as a summer blockbuster. It's coming out in July. I feel like it all hinges on, in a sense, what certificate it will be as well. Because I know it's going to be a PG-13 in America, but that sometimes varies whether in the UK whether it be a 12 or a 15. And I think if they cater it more to the family aspect, it could tarnish its reputation.
I think I'll see it. It's got ingredients, you know, we've directed some of the people that are in it to be a good film.
Yeah. But
I'm not necessarily. I wouldn't bank on it.
Well, at least it's got the potential to surprise.
Yep, fair enough.
Agreed.
I'll agree with you on that then now.
Okay, well, that will be out in July, as Ross mentioned, and so check it out.
Escape the fate, Whitehead! Then I shall become it! I shall consume all the ill fortune which you are sent to unleash! I shall chew up All the selfish scheming and ill intentions that men like you force upon men like me!
What do you see, friend?
Nothing. Perhaps. Only shadows.
Okay, so that was A Field in England by Ben Wheatley. The interesting thing about this film is that it's being released in the cinema, on Blu-ray, on DVD, and being shown on Film 4 all on the same day. What do you think of this kind of marketing strategy?
Well, I mean, it's been heavily documented that their strategy, they were given the funding to experiment with the release of it. So I think it's a very clever idea, but at the same time, I feel like that might take away all the fanfare will be on the release, so it might take away the actual sort of what the theme of the film is, and whether it's, actually going to be a decent narrative or not.
In terms of, it's experimental, it's ambitious, but ultimately I think it's going to be unsuccessful, because I just think who realistically is going to go and see something, or even just logically, who is going to go and pay to see something at the cinema if you can see it for free? Whether that's on 4OD, whether that's on Film 4, whether that's, just, I don't understand. I just think logically, like, who is going to, I would almost prefer to see anything, whether it's something on television or a film, in the cinema.
Yeah.
But if I have the option to pay a 10 or 12 quid, or to just watch it free, you're probably just going to watch it for free, because it's not as easy just to get to a cinema. So I just think logically, are they thinking to recoup any of the money from the cinema? I don't see the point.
Going to what you're saying, like, why would you buy it on Blu-ray? Because it's going to cost even more.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where you would you would watch it on 4OD, or you would watch it as, on Freeview, whatever you're going to do, and then perhaps if you like it, you would then go and buy it. But no one's good. I mean, how many films have we seen that we have never bought the DVD or never watched again? But we've paid the money to go and see it. But if you get that option to watch it on Freeview, and then the choice, most people are probably going to watch it, and whether it's good or not, but surely you would. I just think it's going to be.
It doesn't appear to be the kind of film that's going to get a whole lot of people going, I need to buy this now because I want to rewatch it. I'm not saying it looks like a one-watch film, but it's not a film I really see people watching often.
I didn't see it. It might be like a one-watch thing for most people, like you said.
Yeah. Well, whether it's good or not, we can applaud its ambition.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's A Field in England, and that'll be out in July on everything. Now Jamie and Ross are going to recommend some films for you. What have you got for us, Jamie?
Mine, I would recommend 2010's The Social Network.
The CFO of Facebook doesn't know how to change his relationship status on Facebook.
It's a little embarrassing, so you should take it as a sign of trust that I would tell you that.
It's a David Fincher film, but it doesn't necessarily look like the usual type of David Fincher film's got him all over it. But this one, he kind of just sits back and lets the cast kind of, do their thing. And it's a really good film with breakout performances from Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, who's obviously doing Spider-Man now, Rooney Mara, who we mentioned earlier, Armie Hammer, who's doing a film now with Johnny Depp. So really, really good film. I think it's really, really good. It got heavily nominated in all the Oscars that year. So yeah, check that one out if you can.
The users are interconnected. That is the whole point. College kids are online because their friends are online, and if one domino goes, the other dominoes go. Don't you get that? I am not going back to the Caribbean night at AE Pie.
I would recommend. It's in the cinemas right now. It's The Great Gatsby.
We were born different from you. It's in our blood. Nothing that you do or dream up can ever change that.
It's directed by Baz Luhrmann. The editing is very messy, and I think it's a stylistic approach, but it didn't really work for me. But the story is really intriguing, and I would recommend that for you.
Now, the following trailer is for a controversial political documentary that aims to expose some of the darker sides of American foreign policy. We want you to tell us if you think that film should be used as a means of escapism and enjoyment, or if you think it has a duty to inform audiences of some of the lesser known topics or issues that are around in the world today. The trailer is Dirty Wars. Let us know what you think on Twitter, and some of your comments might turn up on the show next week. Here it is.
I got a strange phone call. Someone from the inside was reaching out to me. Someone close to the heart of the president's elite force.
There are hundreds of covert operations on multiple continents. The full support of the White House.
Joining us now is Jeremy Scahill.
Jeremy Scahill.
They're dismissing what you've done.
Why are you still alive? Are you paranoid?
When you are fighting with anyone, any option is open. No mess. America knows war. They are war masters.
Now, onto the final topic of our show. In light of the success of X-Men First Class and Avengers, there are of course going to be sequels. Both are owned by separate studios, Fox and Marvel. The strange thing here is that both want to use a character, Quicksilver. Now this is unusual because never before has a character been used by two separate studios within such close proximity of each other. X-Men Days of Future Past is due for release in 2014 and Avengers 2 is due for release in 2015. So, do you see this a problem with this? Two separate interpretations of the character?
I think it's a massive issue because I feel like the audience are gonna become disengaged if they see two people in one role. They're gonna have to form an allegiance to one film. So I think it'd be beneficial for one of them, Marvel or Fox, to get the rights so one person can do it. Because the likelihood of them letting them play the same character over two, Marvel and Fox, is just unrealistic.
There's of course going to be an age gap. More likely than not. With Avengers, I assume it's going to be an older gentleman, where in Days of Future Past he's just a young boy, isn't he?
They've cast Evan Peters as
yeah.
Quicksilver in X-Men. And he's obviously very young, formerly of American Horror Story. And then there's been rumours that Avengers are looking for someone like Channing Tatum to do their Quicksilver. So they're very different. So it's going to be a real issue when it...
Most of the pressure is on the actors, though, because you'll always be constantly comparing which one, your interpretation that you prefer. So obviously, and perhaps
the Marvel one's going to be better.
Well, I was going to say perhaps more on the Avengers, the Avengers 2, that representation. That is because it comes out after, so people have a preconceived idea of, like you would with anything, like whether you go and see the next incarnation of Batman or Superman. You've always kind of got in the back of your idea, like in your mind, like of the ones you've seen before. So it does put a little bit of pressure on. But in this case, it's such close proximity, a year. It's going to be really fresh in their mind. So it's a strange one.
Mm.
There's enough superheroes. You would think they could choose another one.
Joss Whedon though is particularly taken by Quicksilver's powers and what he can do with him on film.
Apparently the reason he's refused to take him out of the script, even though obviously it's X-Men Days of Future Past is about to film, and the Avengers could easily rewrite the script, but he said it's a very specific scene he wants to do, and only Quicksilver would be good for. So it's one of them, which is fair enough from like an artistic point of view. It's good that he's sticking to his guns, but.
Has Bryan Singer not already got enough mutants in X-Men? The whole cast is coming back for Days of Future Past.
Well, it's a time
and more.
That's kind of thing. The time travel element of it, I'm sure they'll try and pop as many in there as they can.
Definitely,
but hopefully not ruin it.
So, do you think that Disney should just bite the bullet?
I think it's crucial that Disney try to, because obviously they haven't got the rights, have they, for the name and stuff. So I feel that's going to take the authenticity.
They can't call him Quicksilver. They can't say it's a mutant. They can't refer to Magneto.
And now that in a sense will make the Avengers a bit...
Particularly from as a fan point of view, like not just someone who's going to go and see the film, as actually a fan of comic books, superheroes, that kind of thing. It is going to take away from it slightly. It's going to taint it.
Fire!
This brings us to the end of our show. But first, before we go, we're going to play a game called Gone in 30 Seconds. For this part of the show, the panel here needs to pitch a film to me which will contain a character, a genre, and subject matter of my choosing. They'll have 30 seconds to think it through, and then 30 seconds each to pitch it to me. So, today, the character is a pug. The genre is sci-fi, and the subject matter is a heist. Your 30 seconds starts now. It's down to you to tell us on Twitter any suggestions you have for the forfeit that the loser will need to take next week. Okay, you got 20 seconds, guys. It's looking like it's going to be an easy one. And of course, we'll be starting with you, Ross. You've got 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Pug is sent down from Mars to reclaim a jewel that they need for the planet's energy. So he has to perform and become part of a robbery gang to rob a bank where it is at. So he successfully does that. There's loads of trials and tribulations at the end. He gets transported back to Mars, and then the whole planet is saved again. His family can live happily ever after, and the end.
Okay, now Jamie, go.
Okay, the Pug, voiced by Bill Murray, is a time-travelling Pug who has been sent back by the dogs rule the world in 3,000 years' time. So he's been sent
20
back
seconds.
In order to get a time travel device in order to bring that back, so there's paradoxes, and so that time travel can never be invented, and so that humans will make sure that they're not the rulers of the world and the dogs rulers of the world.
5 seconds. Is that it?
That's what I need. I don't need that one. I've already won.
Okay, right.
That was horrific.
That was
That
content-wise hard to judge, but for Bill Murray as the Pug, it's got to go to Jamie. This means that you get to choose Ross's forfeit for next week's show. Put that either on our comment section in YouTube or on our Twitter page.
Dr. Banner, now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.